Right, here we go. And we're live. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Holy Crap, the Vlogcast. A vlogcast that comes from a skeptical point of view to answer some of the questions of why. This vlogcast thread is a combination of spite and the Streisand effect because I don't have any beer this week. I've just got something that my son gave me as he was moving back into college. Technically, it's mine because I paid for it, so whatever. It doesn't have the fun white powder in it anymore. Original taste, my ass. Part of this is follow through with the old adage, sometimes the journey is more important than the destination. I'm having a little bit of fun at one of our co-hosts' expense. I'll explain why momentarily. It's good to be back with you guys. I am your main host. I'm known as Shujin Tribble, pretty much everywhere under that name, Shujin. Hi. Let me kind of explain. Rejoining us for the first time in a while. It's good to have you back, by the way. Top left-hand corner of North America, where single-digit temperatures are not out of the ordinary right now. Dallin, hi.
As I've always said, when it comes to weather up here, just flip a coin.
Yeah, isn't that the case?
Yeah, honestly, weather forecasters here could slay as bookies in Vegas for being able to calculate the odds.
SLAY?
Yeah.
Well, it's winter. I wasn't.
Yeah, it'll be winter here probably until tomorrow when all the snow's gone.
We'll see how long that lasts then. Mm-hmm. Down and to the right, into the Midwest of the U.S., Bridget, good evening.
Evening. It's about 4 here, which is not bad. We did have some frizzle earlier, but now it's just rain.
Is that freedom units or is that like real weather?
That's like real weather.
Okay.
Freedom units. It's about 38.
Yeah, we're 5 below here right now.
Yeah, we had freezing rain, freezing drizzle, frizzle earlier, but now it's just raining.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if there's one nice thing for me, because I'm a selfish bastard, the nice thing about having snow or have it snowing is that the roofers will tend to shut up. Look, right now they're working on the house directly across from my balcony. So for 8 hours a day, I'm hearing the steady pop, pop, pop of an air gun, or an air nailer, and which is fine. I don't mind it. But when I'm actually trying to do stuff with the mic, as Shujin will attest, I mean, he's heard jets take off from this thing, and I don't have the gain turned up that much. He's also heard police sirens, and I don't know. Did you ever hear the drag race?
You know what? I don't know. I don't particularly think the chiffon rustling against itself would come through your mic at that distance. I don't know. Figure it out later.
Phrasing.
And over the water, over to Paris, France.
What you did there.
Where it is actually rather balmy by comparison. Joseph, thank you for showing up.
Still raining.
Yeah. I looked it up, by the way. For you over there in Paris, according to Google Weather, it's currently saying that it's 8 Celsius. That's rather balmy by comparison. Yeah, over here, it's outside of Buffalo today. Right now, it's dark because it's night, and it's -9 Celsius. So,
well, it's dark because it's not day here.
That's right. The nuclear day ball has not yet risen.
No. It has not made its orbit around the Earth.
Never mind. Later. Come back to that later.
You geocentric heathen, you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just seeing if you're paying attention.
Just a little bit. So, okay. It's good to be back with you guys. Of course, as always, live chat. Good to have you over here joining us. Stephanie, did see you over there. Hi. As like with last week, I'm going to very, very carefully make sure that we are very close to the 2-hour mark and not at all over it if possible, because I've still got soreness in my arm and I don't want to be pushing it. Last night I did 2 hours. Okay. I'm drugged up. So it should be hitting properly within the first hour of the show, but I'm really not gonna push it. I know. Leave me
Is
alone.
Is it still because of the shoveling incident?
Yeah, I've got something that's in pain behind my shoulder blades. One shoulder blade, so I'm not quite sure what it is. It might be a nerve thing. I'm not really sure what the hell's going on. It is getting better, but it's just
We could talk about that
yeah,
off show.
Ouch.
yeah. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Now, as far as to my drinking goblet tonight, I've decided to use this one. Why? Because believe it or not, this is the one that I use for ice cream mixed with milk. Because I'm getting the like super cheap stuff at BJ's, which, oh my god, that stuff is so good. The chocolate that they've got, mix that with like an equal amount of, or like 2/3 milk with that chocolate ice cream. Oh my god, it's like having like the best chocolate shake from Burger King ever. Or Harvey's, come to think of it. God, I freaking miss Harvey's. Goddamn pandemic.
Yeah, there's a place up here. You guys down in the States have the same thing, the Cold Stone Creamery?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. We have something up here similar. It's called the Marble Slab. Same thing.
Yeah. Okay.
They actually make milkshakes, like real milkshakes, not this spooge out of a spout, blend it for a little bit type thing. Like I'm talking ice cream, milk. If you want fixins, you get fixins. If you want chocolate syrup, they throw chocolate syrup in there. I mean, the real thing.
Do it right. Oh,
Yeah, I went there. Yeah, so I went there once, and I ordered one. I didn't see they had them at first, and then I looked. I'm like, oh, okay. Ordered one. A little pricey, but that's to be expected. Okay. There was a store in my hometown growing up, and it had it was more of a grocery type store, but it had a coffee bar type thing. You know those kind of shops? You can go in, you can get your groceries, but you can also sit down at almost like a restaurant style bar table, get a coffee, maybe get a slice of apple pie, a place you'd go on a Sunday after church if your family was into that type of thing. But you guys know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So they did the milkshakes there, and like I'm talking the metal cup with that vintage mixer thingy, that, and that's what Marble Slab did, and that's exactly how it tasted. I took one sip of that thing, and it took me right back to the 70s.
Nice.
It's not very often I can do that. That time, oh, but at about $8 a pop, that's a luxury.
Agreed.
Which I can easily duplicate back here at home. So screw it.
Ever been to Five Guys?
Oh yeah.
I have not.
They do those too.
Yeah, on my radar, but have not yet.
Funny enough, I have not been to a Five Guys in quite a long time because I have not been eating out nearly as much as I had previously because nice enough these guys are out there doing their job. I don't think that I really want to, give them more agita than what they need. I have not had a shake from them, I don't think ever, but I do remember at one point that there was a add bacon to anything line item on the menu that was like 15 cents, 75 cents, whatever the hell it was. And we actually did ask, does that include doing it in a shake? Yeah. You know what? Yeah. I mean, yeah.
A vanilla milkshake with bacon sprinkles. That must be awesome.
Oh, I don't know, but I'm gonna try the next time.
Like just a touch of pepper.
I know we're going off the cliff here, but what the hell?
A little bit.
Okay. 2010, when I got the notice that I was going to get the chance to go to AC and see all you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Ginya saying something about chocolate bacon. Now, at first, I was concerned about that because I had no idea what she was talking about. And what she ended up bringing was a very, very wonderfully crafted chocolate brownie laced with bacon bits. And I thought, okay, that's kind of chocolate bacon. Cut to Rainforest a couple years later, and I'm in downtown Seattle. And myself, Conrad, and Shayla walked into a chocolatier shop. And this is like everything chocolate. Like when I say soup to nuts, I'm not kidding about soup to nuts. And they had chocolate bacon, crisped bacon strips, real bacon strips, dipped in chocolate. And I thought to myself, now
Dark chocolate?
I don't remember. But the thing is, if I'd had a cell phone with a decent camera at that time, I'd have taken a shot of that and sent it to Jinya to say, yeah, here's another variant of chocolate bacon, but sadly, back then, that was what, 2011, 2012? Yeah, the cell phone I had at that time was crap. Like, real crap.
It's okay. Don't worry about it.
I've never had chocolate bacon before, but there was one time that my seafood had, like a yearly party that we watched kung fu movies at and brought snacks and things. And he made some candied bacon, and it was delicious.
Candy? How do you
Candied
do
bacon.
that?
I don't know. I mean, somehow he, boiled something down and caramelized it and then coated the bacon in it and let it
Jeez.
harden, and it was so good.
Yeah, it's not too different than peanut brittle. It's just sugar.
It just had bacon in it. It was
You know what you get?
Diabetes.
You know what? If you could do that with maple syrup, get
And
it,
you can.
get it down. Yeah, so you get it down to where it can turn into the peanut brittle, and then coat bacon with that, and then let it solidify. You've got maple bacon, literally.
Mhm.
I've tried that. I tried making maple syrup peanut brittle. Failure. I took it must have been 1 liter of maple syrup and tried to get it down to the hard crack stage. If you know anything about culinary, how do you say pâtisserie in English?
Pastry.
Yeah, well, whatever. Baking. But, it's that caramel stage, and I couldn't get the syrup down to there because it crystallizes. Something about its consistency. Yeah, it doesn't go down to. It doesn't become solid. It just becomes like crystals.
Maybe we'll investigate that sometime. On the opposite side of the equation, for those of you that are thinking, well, I can do chocolate covered bacon the easy way. I'll just get some Hershey syrup. No. They did that at the Erie County Fair some years ago, and they tried to pass it off as chocolate covered bacon. No. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, you have to melt your chocolate and use some paraffin in it, and then dip it and let it harden.
I forget exactly how it's supposed to be done, but there's
gelatin
or something. I don't know. Well, you know what? We'll try to look it up, because if we don't, I know for well. By the way, over in live chat, Felix is over there. I know for well she's probably going to look it up, because I mean that's.
Yes,
Yeah,
Felix,
we'll
what
have.
you can do is you take baking chocolate and you put some paraffin in it and you melt it down, and it's same thing as you would do as if you were making homemade dipped chocolate covered strawberries or peanut butter balls or whatever. That same thing.
Paraffin, wouldn't that have a taste?
I think you guys. Well, I mean, there's paraffin wax.
Yeah, it's paraffin wax, but you don't use very much of it, and you put it with the baking chocolate. That way, when it cools, it will harden and make a shell.
I wish I'd known that. I used to have a recipe for. Yeah, you're gonna love this one. It's chocolate dipped peanut butter balls, but in the chocolate, you throw a couple of 3 shots of Irish cream.
Oh,
give it that little oomph.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? But they were messy as hell to put together. But I bet you if I'd known about paraffin at that time, and if I'd been able to convince my ex-wife, they might have turned out a bit better. I mean, it was tasty,
Well,
but
you know,
Usually, confectioners here they use gelatin, like basically the Jello, the consistence.
yeah,
Pectin?
pectin. There you go. That's the stuff.
yeah.
God, it's bad. The first time I ever heard of pectin was with Bruno Gerussi. Hi, I'm old.
Welcome to Holy Crap, the cooking show.
Well, it's, the way that we're going at this point, it's either going to be the cooking show or the candle making show. I'm not sure which one it's going to be right now. So how about I just go ahead, have another sip, because this is the first time I've had like soda in quite a while. Because I've been drinking coffee and orange juice. Because and milk. Because gotta keep them bones squirking.
That's one hell of a cocktail.
Well, I didn't put anything into it this time, so. Although I was considering what would happen if I were to actually make coffee with this Coca-Cola. You know what? Nah, I don't. No. I want to get to sleep sometime before August.
I mean, if you really want to try it, go to BJ's or whatever and just buy a bottle of that SodaStream cola syrup. Dump some of that in a cup of coffee. Don't throw it in the tank.
Nope. I want to get to sleep before I'm 75 years old. And at the rate that I'm going, I'm having a hard time hitting 40 as it is. So let's leave it at that. There's an old joke in there.
There was something out. It doesn't exist anymore. I've been able to find it online, but not in retail. But it was Coca-Cola Black. It was basically coffee Coca-Cola. Do a Google for it. I have my hand in my shoe now, so I can't.
I'm so glad that you. Glad you said shoe. All right.
Why?
Whenever I hear somebody say, "I've got my hand in my," I don't want to hear past that. I'm just going to leave it at that. Dallin's definitely got the Google foo, so I'm sure that he'll end up looking it up. So while we're doing that, Joseph, you go ahead and mute yourself out while I go ahead and get us rolling over here, because we're late and behind schedule, and we don't have a horrible scope because I can't sit at the computer very long to write them. I know, I could just dictate it, but whatever. So, here we go. With 5 minutes on the clock, your 5-minute freestyle starts right now. This week, bang. Specifically, Big Bang. I'm sick and tired of hearing about this whole argument about... I know. How much do I really go into, the whole... Who's got the religious argument this week? I know, we don't do that quite as much, and I kind of want to get to part of it, which is part of tonight, but the Big Bang argument about the whole everything was created and all you guys believe in is that everything is just random chance. No. First off, no, and second, you're an idiot. Why don't you just ask us what it is that we think? Because that would actually work out a lot better. The thing that drives me up a wall is somebody that goes ahead and says, you believe that random chance had anything to do with, all right, right there, you've completely lost your argument. Absolutely, utterly, 100%, just gone. You could just stop right there because you just put the big L on your forehead because it's over with. Random chance? There is quite literally almost nothing that is quote-unquote random chance that we know of currently. There's stuff that we haven't been able to explain. There's stuff that we can't quantify well enough or with enough precision. If we were able to figure out the exact force, the exact position, the exact air temperature and air density, and any kind of anything that was going on with a coin flip, we could replicate that coin flip Time and time and time again. If we had exactly the same parameters, it would happen every time. Now, that's not something that, if there was just random chance at work in this universe for everything, that you'd be able to do. It simply can't operate that way. But for whatever reason, we puddles of water in this universe, we are lucky enough to live in one to begin with, and to be able to understand that there is stuff that happens because it has to happen, because that's the way that this universe operates. You want to be all kind of upset about, well, quantum entanglement. Don't start with that word. You don't know what that word means. You really don't. Water puts itself together in a very specific format. It's a triangle. Well, it's part of a triangle, at least. A carbon ring puts itself together in a ring. Molecular hydrogen does the same thing. It's just a connection of two hydrogen atoms. Now, if you want to go ahead and... Or was it helium? You know what? I've forgotten which one was which. But it doesn't really much matter, does it? Things work in a specific way. And for anybody to go ahead and say, you're just expecting that, humanity came out because of random chance, that's just a crock. Because one of the biggest things about how things operate in this universe is time. You know the old adage, have an infinite number of monkeys and an infinite number of typewriters with an infinite amount of time, and eventually they will type out all of the works of Shakespeare? With random opportunity, after a long enough time, yes, that can happen. Is it likely to? No. Likely to happen in my lifetime? No. In the lifetime of the universe? That gets to be much more interesting. Because the question can now shift from, will it happen, to which language will it happen in? Because, as the great God Murphy is my witness, I could guarantee you, sooner or later, somebody would look it all over and go, yeah, that's Hamlet. It's just in Klingon, though. I'm not sure if I exactly got the piece across correctly for that one tonight. It kind of got a little bit away from me, but that's okay. It's episode 347 on the docket, Your Honor. Agent K was right. In this case, Agent K from Men in Black. And it's not the usual quote that I use, which is, people are, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky individuals, or I forget exactly what the line was. But the line in this case is, whatever you say, Slick, but I need to tell you something about all your skills. As of right now, they mean precisely dick. This news report that I had found came across social media, and I was absolutely heartbroken to read it, and I've got it in the show notes. The long and short of it is, and I had to go through about 4 different news reports in order to get a better understanding of what was going on, because the first one was a little light on the details at that point. Family, father, mother, 2 daughters. In India, they've been dealing with, the lockdown the same way that everybody else has. It's hard on people's psyche. It just is. And this family is fairly well educated. Masters of Science, Doctor of Philosophy, and Master of Philosophy. The kids were doing well in college themselves. Something about forestry. I forget what all was going on. But one of them was starting to get really, really. From the way that the article read it off, it sounded a lot like there was some mental instability that was happening. Maybe I don't want to. I don't want to be going, armchair doctor over here or anything, but it has the sound of schizophrenia to it. To me, don't ask me why I am specifically looking and centering on that one. There's stuff. Just leave it at that. And it's not what anybody would think. But she was getting more and more upset, more and more worried about that she's going to die. And from the articles, it sounded like it was a very irrational thing that was going on. And the younger sister started to also have similar concerns and worries. And the parents? Again, I'm making a very, very short version of the articles. The parents killed them. Knocked him completely out and killed him with weighted dumbbells. And there was apparently an influence on the family that said that they could be revived after they were dead anyway. I couldn't quite suss out were they suggested to kill them so that they could be brought back to life and be cured? Or what? Because that wasn't really part of the news articles. And like I said, I went through a lot of them trying to figure out. But the idea that this well-educated, it would seem, family succumbed to this, and apparently the girls succumbed willingly, according to the reports. I absolutely could not believe what I was reading as a parent. And as someone who, runs this this show where we basically say, you should be thinking for yourself, you should be better educated, and all that kind of flies out the window because I'm not entirely sure why. All I know is that the biggest piece of it all that absolutely disgusts me is that somebody was smart enough, wily enough to convince these people that they could bring the dead back to life. And I can't for the life of me imagine how something like that could be done, or that anybody would actually do that to a family.
What underlines that? What in that story? What's underlined most in that is the word education, because yeah, education alone. Well, it's a vague term, but I mean, somebody well educated would do that. There's a problem with our education system if you can get a university degree without having a soupçon of critical thought skills or
Well, again, I'm not a parent, but
skepticism.
yeah, I'm not a parent. My siblings are, and I have many friends who are. And when it comes to their kids, in again, just sitting as an observer, I've seen parents go from rational, well-mannered, pragmatic thinking people to hysterical, almost drooling, hyperactive people who are willing to do anything and everything to protect their kids. And again, we have to think about the culture, like the society in which they live. You said this is from India.
Yeah. And
So
the mother and father, or I forget, one of them was a professor
Yeah.
in I forget what it was, chemistry. I think on top
Well,
of everything else. And again, they were mother and father were both multiple master and doctorate
yeah,
between
but
each of them. So
yeah, but we've got legit PhD Christian astronomers over here. We've got Christian physicists. We've got Muslim doctors. We've got Muslim chemists. We've probably got Hindu physicists out there somewhere.
oh sure,
You know, so I mean, the fact that you've got this degree that a person of a more skeptical mind, like this panel here, would think, okay, so yeah, you've probably debunked all the Sky Daddy stuff. Maybe, maybe
we would
not.
hope.
Well, again, but if you're able to keep the science away from the religion, so that if you're promoting the science stuff in your professional work and actually doing things based on the science without Reese peanut butter cupping the whole thing. I can't believe I just did that. You got religion in my science. No, you got science in my religion. Yeah, these are two tastes that do not taste great together.
What was the name of the brain surgeon who was running for politician? Ben. Oh, geez.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, the guy was an accomplished neurosurgeon, but apparently he had a propensity of talking out of his ass. I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, well, he was a wingnut, and I mean,
Oh yeah, totally.
And it seems that well, not very good for his trade, but he, couldn't put two neurons together, which, but he was
yeah, but the thing is, too, Joseph, you think about it, you've got people who are book smart, people who are maybe brilliant textbook neurosurgeons or textbook this or that and the other thing.
I'd call those people technicians.
But they also have the social skills and aptitude of a potato.
Oh.
You know what I mean? It's like, yes, you're a brilliant scientist, but you can't even talk to somebody face to face.
I'm sorry.
You know what I mean?
I'm laughing because I'm thinking to myself, man, if Joey was here right now, he would be taking umbrage at that because the mighty potato, all the things you can do with it. You can drink it, you can power your engines with it, all that. Anyway.
Yeah, but anyways, my
I think
point
we're
is
talking about two separate things though here.
Well, no, I mean, I'm telling these people I'm just describing that these people have absolutely no social aptitude whatsoever, or couldn't string a coherent sentence together in public because
MIT is full of them.
Yeah, and so is most of the furry fandom, but that's another story.
Because critical thought seems to impede on social skills, strangely.
I'd say there's a bit of both. I mean, and the thing about
there's something else. You can go through university being a believer, and end up a great technician. Okay, you've passed all the exams, you all the motor techniques. You got your degree. But I mean, anything outside of the textbook or anything like that, well, I would tend to have doubts if somebody like that had to operate outside the box, for example, in an emergency situation.
Yeah, and the other thing about you were talking about how critical thought and social skills are kind of at odds with each other, and it makes me think. Critical thought kind of makes you have to pause a little bit to think about what's going on, whereas a social setting is more of a shoot from the hip.
Oh, yeah, it's completely automatic.
Well, yeah, because it's expected. Somebody somebody takes too long to answer. You wonder, are you all right?
Well, I've talked about this before, but for example, if you have somebody with a believer mentality, who's in this context we could say skilled socially, they're expecting a sort of reaction. So, like you say, if you take a second and think about what they were saying, the person across from you, the believer, can take it in all sorts of ways. Even as a sign of disrespect. Yeah,
but even in a neutral setting is also what I'm getting at. Is if a critical thing, if you so you're talking politics. I don't know why you'd want to, but but if the person you're speaking to absorbs what you say and actually rolls it around in their head a bit before saying something, there are some people who would be concerned about that because, okay,
You're supposed to believe. You're supposed to.
or you're supposed to just react to what I say,
Yeah.
and if you disagree, well, we all know what happens then.
Well,
But
they might take it as a sign of disagreement. They could take it for anything.
yeah, and
We-
depending on who
because-
it is you're disagreeing with, that could lead to a whole other can of worms going on.
Well,
That's
we can't read minds, unfortunately.
But to my point, we've got these people who sound like they're educated. They got lots of letters after their names. Great. What kind of society are they brought up in? Is it a very spiritual community in which they live? And now their kids are convinced they're going to die. They're probably freaking out, and they hit that level of desperation. And
But
I think
who put that idea into their heads? It sounds like their parents.
Okay, backtracking just a little bit. By the way, credit where credit is due. Stephanie did call it. By the way, Ben Carson was the name we were looking for.
Oh, Ben Carson, thank you.
Right.
The articles that I was reading didn't specify who put the fear idea into them. I don't know exactly why or how that came to be. Hence the reason why I'm saying that the feel that I get off of it is a schizophrenia, and again, I feel bad even saying that.
Yeah. So, like, do we? So we don't really know the context that brought up this fear on the part of the kids that they were going to die.
Right.
Like it could have been an actual mental breakdown. It could have been.
It could have been
a charismatic religious leader.
Exactly. There are too damn many variables on this for me.
And I think it feels bad saying schizophrenia because I mean not even psychology knows.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But the point is that there was a primal fear at work.
Yeah.
To do anything to protect the kids or do anything to get out of the situation. And if we go back to, I think, my second or third appearance on this show, a lot longer ago than I can think, I said that there are people who they hit that bottom and they look for anything, a spark, a light to get out of it. And this is why, books like The Secret or anything from the quantum guy. I can't remember his name.
Don't even name him. It doesn't matter.
But you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, but all of these spiritual self-help books or these sacred water, Peter Popoff, sons of bitches. These people prey EY on the people who are desperate for that shaft of hope that's going to get them out of their situation.
But I'd like to underline, I think only people with a believer mentality, or again, survived by imitation, would be party to that kind of thing, to be open to that kind of. Could you imagine any of us, succumbing to the
yes,
the propaganda of Peter Popoff?
Joseph, really? I will tell you right now. If I woke up tomorrow and realized that I had stage 4 cancer somewhere in my body, and somebody told me that for $29.99 I could go get healing crystals put on, given my current situation and the fact that I am unemployed, very close to broke, I'm in a bad way. And if I could find out that $30 might help me, I might be desperate enough to take it. The thing is,
I don't believe that would ever happen.
We say that now because we're not in that situation.
I was.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you want to hear about my past few years.
Well, okay. So I can say, like, I can't say because I've not been in that situation. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I would assume that, you're. Well, Shu, I hate to open a wound, but.
Go.
Your mind had to be running through a crap ton of things at that time. like fear, desperation. So I just have to wonder with these people, did something like, was that desire to see their kids well or something? Was it enough to override everything they had and just take it on faith? Or maybe if it was medical and it was terminal, well then you play every Hail Mary in the book because, you know,
Yeah.
what if?
Let me give the backstory as to what Dallin's talking about and where I'm going on this, because this is going to bring this is definitely going to bring Bridget on board for this part. While my wife was going through cancer treatments, so between 2002 and 2005, there were times that were incredibly difficult, and there are few ways that anybody can really explain it. When you've got a newborn, this house being built, and cancer treatments, and trying to juggle work and a newborn and all that stuff, yeah, you can probably imagine it's a little bit on the stressful side. One of the things that had been suggested to my wife, and at this point I don't even remember who, somebody had suggested pomegranate juice as a way of helping, helping with the cancer. Now, in reminding you that cancer is not a one-off thing. There's who only knows how many different strains and whatnot. And for her, it was literally 1 in a million for the Cancer Research Hospital. But she told me about it, and I, reminding you, yes, this is, in the middle of the whole damn thing, I didn't know, but it didn't sound like, it didn't seem to make any kind of sense to me, but I was willing to go ahead and say, well, why don't you ask and find out? Now, fortunately, she's at this point talked about it many a time, the Roswell Park Cancer Institute here in Buffalo, amazing groups of people, and she asked one of her nurses, and he's just like, no, that's not anything. That's just a way for people to sell juice. Okay. Now, memory serves, this was also the same guy that said, look, if the THC pills, which, by the way, you want to talk about horse pills?
Yeah.
Dude, like the first knuckle of my thumb, horse pill. He was fucking big. He did go ahead and say, look, if the THC pills aren't doing it for you, I can get you some of the real stuff to kind of help you out if you need. I don't know who that nurse was, but I will say over and over again, that is a nurse who believes far and away more in the Hippocratic Oath than legality. And sometimes that's a good thing. So the reason why I wanted to make sure that Bridget came in at this point is I have to imagine that in the medical areas that you've seen, you had to have seen some absolute bogus bullshit that people have tried to peddle to say, this is going to help you boost your metabolism, help you cleanse out your liver, keep you from getting, I don't know, athlete's crow's feet on your earwax or whatever the hell. You've had to have seen some of this bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, we still have some patients come in from time to time that, you suggest that they need a course of chemotherapy or radiation or something like that. And what's really weird is, radiation they seem to be okay with, even though it's painful and things like that. But when you start talking chemotherapy, then a lot of them, well, I'm not going to say a lot, but some of the patients are reluctant to do that, and they're, want to explore, homeopathy, or, take some herbal things to cure their prostate cancer, what have you. And those people generally don't live very long.
There's another word I want to throw in there for you also to go along with that one, because it also drives me up a wall. Never mind the H word of homeopathy, but the other H word, holistic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that too. But it's just funny that people will come in and say, well, I heard that, saw, taking some capsules of saw palmetto will help with this, so I think I'm going to try that. And,
Yeah,
it takes more vitamin C and just all kinds of things like that. And, sometimes when their cancer will progress a little further, then they start getting desperate. Maybe at that point they'll look at, revisiting their decision on chemotherapy. But usually by that time, if they're restaged, it's worse.
yeah.
You described almost exactly what Steve Jobs went through. He was
Yeah.
he tried to get over his liver cancer through I forget what he used, but some sort of diet followed by yogi meditation.
Didn't Jim Henson do something kind of wackadoodle too when he was going down? I'll have to look that up.
I don't recall. I don't think so. By the way,
so to your credit for what you were saying before, I mean, I'm saying that people who think critically are prone to that kind of thing, but yeah.
Well, I think part of it is being in denial and desperation too. Is, especially
it's a cocktail of things.
Well, if you've been handled, that's not the right word. If you've been handed a diagnosis that is scary or terminal, or will probably be terminal, people have a tendency to look for some other explanation or something else that will help them that's not, backed up by science or anything like that.
Because if science doesn't have the answers, but there's one thing to look at science first and then give up, and it's quite something else altogether to not look at science at all and go, make a beeline for the quack remedy or whatever whoever is telling you.
Finally getting the chance to join us, by the way, on Renault Tech. Good to see you, man.
Hi, guys. Sorry to be late.
No worries.
You guys talking about trying to fight off cancer for things and such reminds me of a Maryland performer, Johnny Fox. Now, anybody who's been to the Maryland Renaissance Festival before, say, the year 2015, they knew who Johnny Fox is. He was a sword swallower. He did the whole Water from India bit. He was an absolute top-notch performer. He died at the end of 2017. And the year before that, and he died of cancer, liver cancer. The year before that was a performance that I was privy to, and I actually got to meet the guy and talk to him. It was really hard in 2018 when I found out he died. And I was talking to one of the other performers, and they had some more intimate knowledge, because if you read about Johnny Fox, they say that he fought the liver cancer with diet, alternative medicine, and his optimistic attitude. But if I talk to some of the performers who intimately know him, and when we were talking, he's like, yeah, the guy really went on for a long time. He went through every medically sound treatment and even some experimental ones you could find to beat the cancer. And when none of those worked, he went on a highly restrictive diet, high calorie count, things that would not put any kind of toll on his liver or other organs, things like that. He sought out alternative stuff, but the smile on his face is what kept him going to the bitter end. And when somebody has gone through every medically known available treatment, I don't fault them for seeking out alternative style of treatments. I really don't, because the way we see life is you got one shot, that's it. Nobody wants to go home at the end of the day, and by the end of the day I mean death. But he went through first the science, he went through first the medicine, and when that failed, then he sought the alternatives. At that point I don't blame him.
No, and truth be told, I don't think anybody can. Although I think that I would much rather that people looked at it not as alternative treatment so much as trying to maximize your wellness for the time you have left. If it was couched that way, if it was intentionally, I don't want to use the term peddled. If it was marketed, again, it's a bad word because it's got baggage to it, but I'm hoping you get the idea of where I'm going with this. If it was a matter of, look, you've gone through everything, let us help you make the best of the time that you've got, I would be on board with that, no problem.
I think you would, but a lot of people wouldn't because
you're basically giving up.
Yeah. So I think the term alternative medicine, it is definitely it's a marketing gig.
Yeah.
It is. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. Because if it's medicine, it's medicine. If it's not medicine, it's not medicine. It's not alternative. It's medicine. It's just not medicine.
Okay, let me cast a line here and see if I can let's see if I can anchor this whole thing.
This is going to be good.
Have you guys ever heard of, I want to make sure I got this right, but I believe it's called disruptive technology.
Like phasers?
No.
Oh, wait.
Transport?
No, phasers phase, disruptors disrupt. Sorry, my inner nerd.
Yeah, this is
explaining yourself.
This is what I get for talking to nerds. Now, honestly, to be fair, I did only find out about this phrase today. Hey, we're not on the show. I don't have to tip Jack. Son of a bitch.
You said
How
the
come
thing.
we didn't all go, to be fair?
He said the thing. He said the thing. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Hey, look, 9 seasons of Letterkenny. I'm good.
I
haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, and the 9th season, god damn it, they cliffhangered me again.
Sucker.
You know what? As soon as you watch Best of Both Worlds Part 1 and finally go, wait, you had to go through an entire summer not knowing what the hell was going to happen? You know what? Screw you, man. Yeah. Screw you.
Anyway.
I was going to watch Letterkenny, but then I saw Hulu had Assassination Classroom seasons 1 and 2, so I started watching that.
Yeah, no, Tech, trust me. And actually, you'll love it. When Hulu took over from Crave for Letterkenny, I loved it. I can't remember what season it is, but the opening episode, previously on Letterkenny, and it's a 10-minute montage of every fart that took place in the previous seasons. Freaking gold, man. Anyway.
Okay, then.
Okay, so disruptive technology. This is these people that they're marketing it as this is going to these are the game changers. This is going to break the mold of convention. This is, allow me to go, Fontus, the Water Seeker, the Hyperloop, Theranos, the reverse microwave, the space vacuum clothes dryer.
The secret that they don't want you to know that's going to absolutely take all the money away from them and give it to us. But we don't say that part out loud.
And then you get a guy like Thunderfoot who looks at that and goes, let me slap some science on yo ass. And basically he says, yeah, that breaks thermodynamics, that breaks physics, that breaks more physics, that breaks chemistry. That is physically impossible. And that's the one that's Theranos. For those of you that don't know, Theranos was a multi-billion-dollar company that marketed itself as a dream, and it went from, I think it was 4 billion to 0. Originally, Theranos was going to be you wear a patch, like a nicotine patch or a diet patch. Oh God, those are fun. First time I actually had something that I would put, it was like a Band-Aid. You put it on your side. I could actually taste the stuff in my mouth after an hour. But the idea was that this patch would constantly monitor your blood or your body, and would administer medication or antibiotics into your system automatically. Well, when they realized that was even too Star Trek for Star Trek, they decided to switch gears, where they would now have a machine. Now, conceptually, I like the idea. A drop of blood, or a very small amount of blood compared to what you get with a blood test. And with that drop of blood, they could run over 200 tests with it, and then send that information off to a doctor or a lab. So, basically, so that you don't have to go to the lab, stand in line, and get 10 pints of blood taken out of you. And as someone who had to do that 3 times a week for 2 months, I can see the appeal. Unfortunately, there's a reason they take out as much blood as they do, because they need that much to run the battery of tests that they need to. There are things that they do to that blood, like shine a light, aerate, inject other things. I don't know if they do dye testing, but you know what I mean? And the whole thing it came crashing down. A $4 billion company turned into nothing. My point is that alternative medicine and disruptive technology, it sounds hip, it sounds edgy, it's stick it to the man. It's what you said, the secret that they don't want you to know. I almost fell for one of those sons of bitches years ago. Then I went up looking on who the person was, and it's like, ooh, snake oil.
Yeah, we're going to be coming back over to Bridget, but just before we do, really quickly, because of what Dallin just said, I want folks to remember this very important piece. If you were conned by a con man, that is not on you. A professional con artist is a professional con artist for a reason. You don't get pissed off at a sleight of hand magician or illusionist when they fool you, when you know that you've gone to see a sleight of hand illusionist perform. You don't get pissed off when you go to see Penn and Teller because you can't figure out what in the hell they did with the phone that was running. Suddenly it's inside of somebody's fish. Yeah, that was one of the things.
Yeah, but at the same time, Penn and Teller aren't exactly telling you that they can cure cancer with the magic trick.
That's true, and they actually do tell you at the beginning of their shows, we are here to fool you, we are going to lie to you. That's what you paid us to do. So we're honest liars. Kind of like somebody else that we know. Bridget, all yours.
Yeah, I was just going to come back to the whole cure for cancer thing. As of today, and this is January 31st, 2021. The date just changed because it's past midnight. There is no cure for cancer. We do have a couple of vaccines now that can help prevent certain types of cancer if it's certain viruses, but there is no legitimate practitioner, and this is where I'm going to say legitimate, like a medically certified doctor who, is practicing ethically, will ever tell anyone that their cancer has been cured. Because as of right now, there is 0 cures. The most that they can ever tell you, if they're a legitimate doctor, is that your cancer is in remission.
There's a YouTube channel creator called it's Chubbyemu, and he has a follow-up channel called Heme Review. And the guy who does the show, he's an actual doctor. I forget of what. I believe it's oh god, I forget. But he studies about the stuff, how it affects the body and things like that. Yeah, I know that's a general just anyway. We'll put a link in the channel.
Eventually.
So when he was talking about the hydrochloroquine, a case of a husband and wife who had gone to the hospital, because he talks about the cases and how they, what's happening, what's going on in them.
Oh, was that the couple that swallowed the stuff that was otherwise for the
koi pond? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. The husband died, the wife survived. I speculate it was probably because she ended up vomiting out some of the contents of her stomach, whereas he never did. But the point, I digress, is that one of the things he points out is that if you hear anybody mention any kind of medicine as a cure, especially a doctor, to be wary. Those are not his exact words, but basically, at that point, it's time to start really asking some serious questions when you hear somebody touting something as a quote-unquote cure. Because it's not used commonly in the medical field.
Actually, by a physician, it would never be used. Not if you're a legitimate physician, ever.
Yeah, they say words like recovery, full recovery, a recovery, recovered. They use recovery a lot.
That term is usually specifically used in legitimate medicine for coping after something happens. The closest thing that people could say where cancer is cured, yes, I'm using the scare quotes here for a second, the closest anyone could use that expression for would be if you were to excise a cancerous lesion. That is the closest you could come to saying it. And even that doesn't qualify. Why? Because there's no way of knowing if there are little cells that are floating around in your body where it's going to metastasize yet again. And by the way, may I be the first one on this panel to say, whoever it is that came up with the word metastasize, fuck you. That is so
it's hard to
difficult
spell and hard to say. Fuck you.
When you're in the middle of trying to deal with all these other things and you're trying to remember all of the different things and how many milligrams per kilogram per person and how much are you losing in weight because you can't process anything, and oh my god, how much water are you actually leaking out because you can't keep your bowels together, and you got to try to pronounce metastasize. Fuck you.
I feel that.
Although there is one term that I learned how to say because it was really, really great. Antiangeogenesis. The drug that my wife was put on, experimental in this case, was a new classification. Antiangeogenesis. It was a drug whose Avastin was the name of the drug. She was fortunately able to be pulled into trial because her doctor was part of the trial and asked to see about doing this. The job of it was to prevent cancer cells from growing new tubules so that it can't get the bloodstream to itself, so it shrivels up and dies on its own because it starves to death. So, I have a hard time with the word metastasize, but you throw at me anti-angiogenesis, and I had to roll it around in my head like 5 different times. I can whip that one off, no problem now. I'm sorry, that was a completely sideways thing right there. One.
Not really. I'm waiting for CRISPR technology.
Well, and that brings something else to mind. And again, I'm seriously out of my depth here because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a chemist or anything.
I'm not a gynecologist, but I can have a look. Sorry.
I'm not going anywhere near that one.
Okay, sorry.
I could get into far too much trouble with that one.
Okay.
Although actually, Thunderfoot had a great T-shirt I don't know if you can get it anymore, but is the universe is composed of protons, electrons, neutrons, muons, and morons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's got like 2 versions of it. I loved it.
Thanks for the save.
Yeah. No.
By the way, with Dr. Bernard Su, HSU, who's the one who runs the Chubbyemu channel, he's was trained, licensed, and practices here in the United States. His specialties are pain medication, acupuncture, anesthesiology, physical medication and rehabilitation, spinal cord injury medicine, and sports medication. Yeah, and like, the Roswell Park Cancer Institute, Harvard University, University Hospital, Brooklyn Downstate, Staten Island University Hospital, SUNY Downstate Medical Center, New York University. He's educated. This is not some guy who did his study at Google University.
So he knows how things should bend, how things aren't supposed to bend, and makes them bend properly. Just a lot of the physio and sports therapy is just like, yeah, this guy kind of knows how to put a body back together and make it work properly.
Yeah, but the
He
fact
also
that
knows
he's,
what happens when parts of it shut down. Yeah.
yeah, but the fact that he's also got the needle thing in the body thing, I'm guessing he probably learned that.
Acupuncture?
Yeah, I'm guessing he probably learned that when he was at Staten Island, because all the fumes coming off of Jersey probably screwed him up at that point. A little bit.
All right. So I know acupuncture is controversial.
I'm originally from Brooklyn. I can get away with making a New Jersey joke. Leave me alone.
But
I'm teasing.
what I do have to say is that I have seen one technique that I find to be with acupuncture to be find very interesting, where somebody who's had muscle spasms or muscles that have tightened up into knots, and standard massage therapy not causing that muscle to unknot. I have seen a technique of acupuncture into that muscle group. It's combined with a direct area heat stimulation combined with it to force the muscle to relax. I don't understand it fully. I know that the heat alone won't do it and the acupuncture alone won't do it, but the combination of the two seem to have a very high effective rate. And I don't know what it is.
And I'm going to say, as somebody who was in such pain and having to wait for someone to come in and do something with my back, where I was desperate enough to try that, fucked me up so bad I had to go to the ER and get pain pills because I could not move.
I tend to
And I was
I'm not
hoping
sure.
that it would break loose the knot so I could get some relief until I could get in and get some Botox and get some lidocaine injected. But it fucked me up bad.
That's what I was thinking about acupuncture, because I'm even the medical field takes into account the placebo effect, but there's also an adverse placebo effect that could be. Basically, it's the fact that you're taking treatment, could do something to your actual state, and it's actually the brain working on its own. But like, for example, from time to time I have lower back problems, and it's basically, I just coming out of the shower one day, just like lean forward, lean back really suddenly, and like my back just locked up, and it's my brain trying to compensate for the pain it feels, thus making more pain, thus trying to compensate, making more pain, etc. And it just to break out of that cycle, when it stops, it's always in my sleep. It's never, so if I can just take some sort of basically, if I could stimulate my brain in a way that would just break it out of that cycle, that'd be great. And I think acupuncture, just taking a treatment, has a lot to do with that. I'm
Our suggestion.
And I see. I admit that my observation of this technique is biased. We have a practitioner down here, a person who is that works in my area, who is licensed physical therapy levels of massage, pain, things like that, as well as acupuncturist and direct heat stimulation and things like that. And the people that go there have all given, huge thumbs up, and that regular medicines, they got, they were having to take constant medications until they went there. Then the amount of times they had to go petered out over time. So again, it might just be that the person down here really knows how to do it proper, knows how to make the evaluation, knows when it's necessary, knows how to apply it in such a way as to not harm anyone. And the one that you went to was a jackass.
Well, I mean, the one that I went to came highly recommended and all that, and I've had trigger point injections before, but they only lasted 3 or 4 days because the lidocaine will wear off and then I'd be in pain again. So I didn't go into this expecting a negative experience and was willing to give it a shot. So I didn't go in with any like, oh, well, this is just quackery or anything like that. I said, well, I've had trigger point before and it did help for a few days, so let's see if this will help.
Gotcha.
And, she did the electrical currents on it after she'd placed all the needles and all that other stuff. And within hours, I was in so much worse pain and so much worse spasm, I had to go to the ER.
Wait, does traditional acupuncture doesn't have the electrical stimulus?
Wow. Yeah, no, the one down here doesn't do any kind of electrical stimulus.
Yeah,
And
that's
actually
Infrared heat and acupuncture only.
the electrical stimulus that can really fuck you up.
Yeah, that you're getting into Dr. Ho territory there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the one down here is just infrared heat therapy with combined with acupuncture, nothing else.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call that acupuncture anymore.
Yeah, no. There's a device out there. It's marketed as Dr. Ho's electro whatever.
The one for the face?
Oh, it's for more than that. My ex-father-in-law had that package, and I wanted to. He says, "Oh, you got to try this." And I had a pain in my neck, and he says, "Yeah, okay, here." He whips up a couple of electrodes to my neck, and he gets this thing there, and he turns out I'm like, "Okay, what am I gonna?"
Yeah, I mean, you're talking like a TENS unit, which is, common.
Yeah.
I thought people only use that in the bedroom.
What, a TENS unit? No.
Yeah, to this date, I have never lost control of a muscle or had it subjected to the control of somebody else like that.
Okay, I had a kid in
hell out of me.
There was a kid I went to elementary school with when we were in junior high, our junior high years, and I complete trust of this guy because his dad was an electrician, so he would teach us all this stuff about electricity. He brought in this brick that he had run very thick copper cabling into, and then he attached the 9-volt battery to it, and he touched the 2 curved contacts because he didn't want any sharp pointy to your arm, and he turned it on real quick just by touching the contacts, and your arm would flop around like a fish. Eventually, after second period, the teachers confiscated it, and
it should be common knowledge that we function on electricity.
But no,
it was a fun experiment.
But getting back to this whole thing, like my biggest concern is, okay, so we know what the articles have said, but I get the feeling that there's a lot more that, God, you'd almost need an investigative journalist to really look around and say, okay, like, what kind of society do they live in? Who fed them this line of crap? Was that person and I said it at the start of the show, a charismatic leader, which goes into something else. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos from a guy. He calls himself Ideas of Ice and Fire. He's a Dune enthusiast. Yeah, his channel's called Quinn's Ideas, and he tears apart the Dune series quite a bit. And of course, he's all over the moon of the fact that the new one's coming. But he drops a lot of quotes from Frank Herbert, the guy who created the Dune series. And one of the ones was, I'm paraphrasing the hell out of this, so Quinn, if you ever hear this like 23, 25, I apologize. Charismatic leaders should come with a warning label. They're hazardous to your health. And he also had 2 quotes, which I think today would be hot takes. He was very wary of John F. Kennedy because he was so charismatic, and people would just fall all over themselves to obey. Yes, Mr. Kennedy, whatever you say, Mr. Kennedy. And one president he actually liked, Richard Nixon. No, because Nixon taught people to mistrust the government. He was one of those cautionary tales that's out there. Unfortunately, people are very short-sighted, and any chance they can to deify somebody or to slough all their survival needs onto that leader, to kind of borrow from you, Joseph, people will do that. You've got the person that says, believe in me and I will take care of it all for you. Well, yeah, everybody's going to do that, because then they don't have to take care of it for themselves.
Just a general question to the panel. But do you consider yourself prone to charisma? Are you open, like if you have a charismatic person near you, do you react to that?
It depends.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it depends on what the person's being charismatic about. I have spoken face to face with one of those fire and brimstone, hail Jesus, praise the Lord kind of preachers, to the point where he actually asked me how I was doing. And I said, I'm doing pretty good. Life's doing pretty good. It's all praise God. I'm like, oh boy. Mm-hmm. That person? No. Someone who tried to get me into the Primerica pyramid insurance scheme? Yeah, worked for about 5 minutes. Then I realized that this person was taking me for a ride. So it's situation to situation.
I learned hard lessons personally. There is a company called Vector Marketing, and anybody who knows that name knows what I'm about to say next.
Yep.
Yeah, pyramid is
multi-level marketing.
Yeah,
I never thought I would fall
Sell
for
knives and shit door to door.
It was knives. Yes, Cutco knives.
Well,
and what sold me wasn't the person. Believe it or not, it wasn't the person who sold me into selling Cutco. It was the product, because I understood the metallurgy of the knives. I understood the concept of the riveting system. I understood the materials of the handle and the analysis of the hands and things like that. And I actually tried the product and I liked it, so I decided to sell it. The product convinced me.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Is nobody going to make any kind of mention how silly a name Cutco is for a set of knives? I mean,
I put Cutco up against Ginsu.
Hey, they're better than Ginsu.
Oh, they are. They are a far superior product.
I will say this. I have a full set of Cutco knives in my kitchen, but I also have some high carbon steel blades. I have a couple things from Henkel's. I have a blade from Japan. That is probably the most expensive knife in my kitchen, and I have fun with that one.
Is it expensive because you bought it there? In the
No,
US?
no. It's expensive because of how it's made and everything else, and it's also probably the price is also tacked up even higher than it would be in Japan because it was imported into the U.S.
Yeah,
That's
my
what I was asking, because I mean, like a basic kitchen knife in Japan far exceeds anything you can find.
Yeah, my ex-girlfriend was a culinary student.
And see, that's why I have them. I used to study culinary arts.
Yeah, but you mentioned those Japanese cut knives. I mean, I remember looking. Well, no, I was gonna buy her like a butcher block with all the Japanese knives in, like from Amazon, as a graduation present.
Shit, you could buy her one as a graduation present. She'd be happy.
Yeah, I couldn't even afford that.
Yeah. There's a reason why I only have one.
Yeah,
but the point is that I actually have these knives, and they work as well as advertised. It was the marketing system that I had a problem with. All in all, I think I made profit-wise after what I used up in gas and everything else. I think I made at most about $120, $130 of profit. But I know I made the people I was working under more profit than I made for myself.
And I
But
think
I
Was
also
your salary?
I also randomly go to strangers' doors. I did what they marketed me to do, which was only to contact people I knew and then ask them for recommendations of people that they knew to reach out to who would be interested, and that was it. I never went beyond that. I didn't go door to door. The people that were in my team that made a lot of money, the ones who actually made profit, they went door to door. They had no scruples about that. I didn't, because there was a contract in front of me and I agreed to the contract.
Okay, I actually cracked open one of the reports that you put in the show notes, Shu. I wanted to see if there was more going on about what happened.
Yeah,
And
the ones that I got there. Yeah, I mean, how many did you go through? Just one of them?
Well, I just opened them up, and I was
Okay.
just looking at the third one where from the
Talking
the
about
time.
the Android girls thing?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking at the Times of India article, and let me
Yeah,
see here.
it's weird trying to piece these together from the way that they're
Yeah.
all written, isn't it?
Well,
But that's because of the journalism. Because
Yeah,
I mean,
but here's the thing. So, statements told the police that their younger daughter, Sai Divya, who was 22, went out with a stroll with their pet dog and stepped on something accidentally and fell sick about a week ago. Since then, Divya developed a phobia that she would die. And then Divya's phobia drove her towards making suicidal attempts. So now it's not just the fact that one of them was scared they were going to die; they were actually trying to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And then approached. Oh, I love this.
Sounds like The Happening.
Yeah, approached a local sorcerer through one of his colleagues, this GP Raju. I don't know what that is. The sorcerer who performed some pujas at the resident tied amulets, not ambulance, to the family members and left on the 23rd of the month. So the phobia continued. The elder daughter appeared to be supporting her suicidal thoughts the very next day. Let's see.
read the article and get back to us.
Oh my God.
Yes?
So one of
reading
the
an article live is kind of
well, one of the pieces about the article is
God.
also that the phobia ended up extending into the other sister. From what I was able to gather from reading through the stuff, like I said, 3 different articles from 3 different writers from 3 different groups, and I mean, nominally speaking, you'd expect that you'd be able to kind of, put pieces together, at least get the right overall look. Some of this stuff, it's not puzzle pieces exactly. It kind of like tile overlaps pieces that kind of, I don't know where they all fit. But what drives me absolutely batty about this, like I said, the whole reason why it held on to me is that as a parent, I know, yeah, you want to do anything and everything that you can for your kids, but as a well-educated person who understands how living tissue and chemistry works and philosophy, I absolutely cannot fathom.
Here's
how-
my.
And now I have a philosopher song going through my head. Thank you, Monty Python.
But no, here's the thing. So again, I'm looking at the Times of India article, which for anybody that's looking at the show notes, I believe it was the 3rd link that Shujin put. On the 24th, Sai, the one who stepped on the thing and got sick, she suddenly started crying out once again that she would die. And the other family members beat her up with bean leaves at first at the 2nd floor of the house.
Bean leaves.
I
Not sure.
BEN. Don't know.
Beat her up with leaves.
Yeah. So I don't know. It might be a thing.
Sounds religious, but
It definitely was.
I don't think beat is unless it was a cane. But anyways,
Yeah, but after her strange acts intensified, the doctor and his wife hit the girl's head with a dumbbell and inflicted cut wounds on her body, killing her. Moments later,
acute
the elder
wounds.
no inflicted cut wounds.
Cut wounds.
Yeah, it turns out the two things that actually ended up killing these girls were dumbbells and a trident.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Dumbbells and a trident.
Yeah.
Then moments later, the elder daughter, Akela, too, behaved in the same manner as her younger sister. 27-year-old Akela said she too wanted to die, undressed herself, and went to the puja room on the first floor of the house and covered herself with a sari. Both parents then hit the girl with the dumbbell on her head and killed her on the spot around 5 p.m. So it sounds to me that, and okay, so this is the big thing. It started with the one who stepped on something and got sick. My question there is, what was she sick of? What was there any kind of medical or effort from was there kind of an effort from a medical standpoint to try and diagnose just what the hell happened to her? Or was the place they were in, again, was this a predominantly spiritual community? Did they not believe in medicine? Now, of course, these people got PhDs and mathematics and all that stuff. Yeah, but I also know, but look, I also know a lot of PhD people who still believe in holistic medicine.
Yeah, there's another point also that Stephanie pointed out that, the meta of it all, I completely missed. And absolutely right, that a good portion of the story is according to what the parents had said. And yeah, it's still kind of being checked out because there's some of the writing also said that they're trying to corroborate off of closed circuit television recordings from around the area. But I mean, I don't know, man.
Yeah, and the thing the girl stepped on, was it like, did it injure her, or was it, was this step on a crack break your mother's back to an extreme? No, it just, but well, okay, if it was a rusty nail, then you could tie it to the fact that, hey, she got some kind of a blood infection.
No, that's
a real thing.
Yeah,
that's true. There are conditions that you can get from cats. Tetanus. There's a whole. I mean, for all
we don't know. I don't think we know enough. I mean, yeah, definitely to if we want to pass judgment, yeah, parents killing their kids, bad.
I think that's been proven. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that article does more harm than it does good, because I mean, from a sensationalist journalistic point of view, yeah, there's the content of the story there. But
Joseph, you know what they call sensationalist journalism these days? Journalism.
Yeah, I know. That's
everybody just they want a journalism. They're journalisming all over the place.
Yeah, the sensational journalism is called journalism, and the journalism's called fake news.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. This is how you can tell a QAnon apart from everybody else. What's that? Fake news. Oh, yeah, you're psycho. Okay, great.
And investigative journalism is called Don't Rock the Boat.
Hey. Talking about in those terms, as somebody who recently was ripping Men in Black and realizing that their investigative journalism was, the Globe, National Enquirer, it's funny to suddenly have that come back around.
It's also a fictional movie.
Yeah, details. We think.
And the Bible says.
I would put more truck in Men in Black movie than the Bible, because at least the Men in Black movie was recorded live.
Oh, yeah. We have evidence of Men in Black, yeah.
Well,
First-hand
Well,
account.
we can be we know that the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel does exist. So at least that part. And I had my high school prom at Tower on the park where have the big fight
Thingies.
at the end of the. Never mind.
Do they
We're not.
spin? Does it actually spin?
No.
Smith
Shame.
is an actual person.
Will Smith really does exist. Yeah.
Okay.
He does.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So does Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
We can go test them to see if they're biologically alive and exist within the frames of our reality. And not...
Well, assuming that their bodyguards and security will let you get close enough, yeah, we can.
And
more
is there-
importantly, they actually leave evidence behind it that can be tested empirically.
But is their testimony, is it credible?
Well, we didn't say that.
Right.
I'm sorry. Now all I've got in my head is, welcome to Earth.
Welcome to our new religion.
Yeah, Will Smith has the toughest time with aliens, according to all these documentary movies.
That's probably why he eventually became a hitman.
And
And
Yeah,
there's
such an effective one, they had to clone him.
Or maybe he started working for ICE.
I was going for Deadshot.
Oh, I was thinking of
You're wrong.
Gemini, the movie.
Okay, done.
Had Will Smith. They
Okay.
cloned him.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, okay. So, I can't. How much time we got? We got about 20 minutes. All right. I can't help but see this see this news article and be reminded. Oh shit! What the hell was her name? Woman. Texas. 7 kids drowned. 6 out of 7. Who the hell was that? She did it to all of her kids because she thought that society was just going to make them bad people, so she wanted to kill them while they were still innocent and they'd go to heaven. Oh,
Andrea Yates.
there you go. So as much as we want to go ahead and say maybe it was the area that they lived in, you know what? That's not exactly a factor, because we got that kind of crazy, and in some cases maybe worse, right here in
Well, now
I was going to go on
Yates,
I was going to go on to the P that rhymes with pool, or people know where
Yeah.
I'm going on that one.
no, but according to like the link I just popped up was from Wikipedia. She had been suffering for some time from very severe postpartum depression,
Yeah.
postpartum psychosis, and schizophrenia.
Yeah.
So
Underlying conditions, absolutely.
so in Andrea's case, like, we actually knew that there was a couple of 3 slipped gears up there.
Yeah.
What we don't know in the India case is,
What the hell?
well, honestly, we don't know a lot. And I wish I would really like, if it was possible, that we could that there was going to be a follow-up on this story, that
Yeah.
we could see what is the investigation like. Okay, what did she step on?
Oh wow.
Why the sorcerer thing? So again, that says, like, yeah, okay, you could be a PhD, you could still be religious as hell and still believe in, sort of the mysticism of things. I mean, again, some people can actually separate, a scientific career or a career bound in secularism, speculation, and skepticism from the mystical stuff. There are people that do that. My parents did that their entire life. I'm pretty sure the rest of my family does it, although I don't think anyone in my family still goes to church. But point being is that, I mean, hell, you could be a Harvard graduate, computer science, MIT, whatever. You'd still be a creationist, for crying out loud.
Well, let's remind folks that there are also those people that do that with less than honest intentions too. But that's neither here nor there.
But just my point is that I don't get the feeling that this family got their PhD out of a Cracker Jack box.
No, absolutely not. Especially considering that the teaching role that at least one of them had.
And I think there was a lot of fear, there was a lot of distress, and there was a lot of, oh my God, my kid has gone nuts. I don't want to lose them, but I don't know what else to do. And if they didn't have access to medical or psychoanalytical resources in the area, which is possible. Yeah, they might not know what to do.
No, you're quite right. But there's a piece that you said that's interesting. Bridget, if the government wanted to do an autopsy on the was it the Dallin, remind me, was it the eldest or the younger? The elder or the younger that stepped on and might have had
it was the younger.
It was the younger, sorry. Having blunt force trauma to kill someone isn't going to change, generally speaking, their overall blood makeup. So if they did screening on blood, you'd be able to find if there was some kind of weird infection or virus load or something like that. Yeah.
Or at least, toxicology studies. I mean, anything like that. Yeah. I mean, that's a routine part of autopsies. And I don't know about their country, but, in the U.S. here, anyone who's murdered or dies, before what we would consider old age are autopsied. I mean, that's just the way that we do things here in this country. And sometimes it takes weeks to get all the results back, but, I mean, I would think that they could check for anything and everything.
Which makes sense.
But then the other question comes up, and I mean, you think of I think of the Ferengi in Star Trek Next Generation, where Beverly did the autopsy against the will of that one family.
Yeah.
So the other question is, could there be possibly a religious barrier to people, to MEs actually being able to examine this body and see if there was some kind of toxin injected? Or again, it just comes down to, what did she step on? That, to me, that's the trigger point of this whole thing. What did she step on?
What was the first domino?
Yeah, what was the first domino? And was it physical, or was it superstitious? If it was superstitious, then okay, we've got a serious education problem. If it was physical and nobody was able to do anything about it, then you've got the problems run far, far, far deeper.
Yeah. Stephanie's also pointing out, in the UK, any sudden death requires an autopsy. In fact, any death that was not predicted by a medic is subject to an autopsy. Autopsy. God,
yes,
I can say anti-angiogenesis, but I can't say autopsy tonight. The frick?
Yeah.
What the hell is in this Coca-Cola?
But that's a Western thing.
Yeah.
It is.
This is stuff that we know.
It is, admittedly.
Okay, you know what? If I still lived in my last place, I could probably ask my landlord about this. And once he got over the weird looks, or once I got over the weird looks, he might be able to answer me as to, what could prevent an autopsy in India. But, just there are too many unknowns on this.
Yeah.
To really get the full story. I mean, yes, it was a tragedy. yes, these parents they're arrested. There's going to be an investigation. Perfect. I'm curious to see how this all turns out, and to see just what triggered this whole thing.
Yeah,
What fell apart that cost two people who were doing so well, or a family who was doing so well? What triggered this whole thing? We destroyed them and killed two of them.
yeah. I'm thinking that this is going to be one of those very, very few stories where, in a couple of months, I'm probably going to have to revisit and track down information, find out what the hell, because there are very few stories where I've covered them and I just can't let them go. There's a handful of them, but there's so many different pieces about this that there's one mention in one of those stories where the government has basically said, look, the family is absolute, the parents, I can't exactly call it a family now, can we? The parents are basically excuse me, in shock, and I'm highly paraphrasing because I don't remember what it said. So they're haven't exactly been charged at that point, or not being held, or I'm not quite sure what the hell was going on. Like I said, the if you take a look and you read the articles that are listed in the show notes, and you take a look at them, I put them in there in the order that I was trying to read them, and you'll understand when you look at them why it's like trying to watch a Kafka movie inside out on VHS. Trying to piece it all together. On top of trying not to be, that guy, because, you're a parent and you kind of can't really deal with why. We've talked on so damned many occasions about the people who they just want to bilk folks. And I hate to say it, I would much rather take the people who are in it for the cash as opposed to the do actual harm. Not that I'm saying that friggin' people like Peter Popoff and your magic spring water to keep you healthy sales thing is a good thing. Just it just hurts.
Hurts your heart.
Yeah. It just does. We got a little bit of time, and I wanna make sure that we get rolling. I'm the only thing that I'm gonna close with for this whole damn thing is as a parent, I really wish I could understand. I really, really wish that I could. And I'm leaving all the skeptical stuff all aside for a couple of seconds. I cannot fathom. I cannot conceptualize. And I have no flippin' idea how anyone would think that this was an okay thing. A part of me wants to feel bad for the parents. I can't get there. I can't get past what they did to their kids. I just can't. And there's not a wish in the world that's going to change what's happened to them now. again, it's another one of those few nights where I'm kind of holding myself together emotionally and by a thread. Bridget, I'll throw it your way next, I suppose. For
Don't really have anything to add to that. I mean, without knowing more details, I really can't judge. And I know some people are probably going to get angry with me for saying this. And I know at the time when it did happen, I had people that I worked with that were furious with me. But the Andrea Yates thing, I was, working in Arkansas at that time. And everybody wanted to condemn that woman, which, it's horrible what she did to her kids. But at the same time, with her having, a clearly documented history of mental health issues, and then after it came out that she begged her husband and her mother-in-law, please do not leave me alone with these kids, and they ignored her and left her alone with them anyway, I hold them as responsible, if not more, because she begged them not to leave her alone with the kids because she thought that she would hurt them, and they left her anyway.
yep, I remember that part.
And, so I couldn't condemn her for that. Now, I admitted that she probably needed to be locked up for the rest of her life in a mental health facility, but I wouldn't have condemned her to death or anything like that, because I feel like she was not fully responsible for what she did. And I got a lot of hate for taking that position, but, I have mental health issues myself. And so I did feel some sympathy for her. And I know that, the one time that I did have a psychotic break, it was not my fault. It was, because taking steroids on top of my medication and they didn't play well with each other. I know what it's like to be in psychosis. It is scary as hell. And I had absolutely no control over what I was doing at the time. And I knew that I didn't, and that made it even more scary. So I'm just going to leave that there. Probably TMI for everybody, but, I'm just going from personal experience.
I got you. Dallin?
Not much more I can really say at this point.
It's a hell of a night for you to come back to it.
Well, actually, no, this was... this is kind of what we got started doing.
Yeah.
Looking at stuff like this and like looking at how religion or religious beliefs they played a hand in this. And this is kind of where it all got started. I mean, it's the whole, whoever this traveling or whoever this sorcerer was, he sounds to me like they're equivalent of an evangelical. And that's my wheelhouse. That's my beef with all of this, are these charismatic people who they do it. I don't know, maybe some belief, but I think it's more of, I'm out this to get mine, and consequences be damned. Yeah, I'm bilking people out of those millions of dollars, but those millions of dollars are coming to me. So I'm going to keep doing it. And honestly, that's where a lot of it lies, is that you've got to, so if someone tells you that, hey, you know what, yeah, we see your kids freaking out, tell you what, let me call my sorcerer buddy over here, and he'll cast a few spells, we'll hang a few amulets around the house, and you'll be fine. Right there, just like, I'm sorry, are you fucking high? There's my one. You know, it's like, you're going to push that voodoo hoodoo shit on me. I want testimony, okay? I want proof that what you're talking about is actually going to work before I let you lay so much as a finger on my child.
Yeah, there's...
Well, you know,
I would
I
be
could hire a
terrible
whole
in
bunch of people
hospital
off
with
the
this.
street to give you testimony.
Yeah, there's that.
Then again, you still have a lot of people that live in New Orleans and in Louisiana, but that area down there that still believe in,
Voodoo.
hoodoo and voodoo and Greekery.
Yeah, and yeah, Tech, I'm going to be coming your way in a second, but real quick, Dallin, I'm sorry for a couple of moments there. I had the image in my head of hanging ambulances on the walls, and just, I couldn't help myself.
You know, that'd probably be a better thing, because at least then you can pluck it down, throw the kid in there, and get him to the damn hospital.
Unless it's a matchbox, in which case that could be that's a thing. Tech,
Yeah, clown car.
yeah.
Hey, don't go making fun of clown cars. So anyway, you know, if my son gets sick, I take him to a doctor. I don't take him to a priest or a rabbi or a shaman. If my son says he has dark thoughts, I say, okay, are you willing to talk to me about them? If the answer is no, okay. Are you willing to talk to a professional about them? And the answer is no. Okay. There's really not much else to do except either A, continue asking and watching and observing and hoping and encouraging, or actually take them there and to a professional and hope we talk anyway, which might make things worse. But luckily, I could also consult the professional before taking that action to see if that's even recommended. So, but if he told me he had dark thoughts, I would not first take him to a church or synagogue or a temple or a mosque or any of those places. You know, because those are buildings of religious nature. They're not institutes designed to heal the mind. They're institutes created to control thoughts. I don't want to control my son. I want to heal him. And if somebody ever recommends, hey, look, all you have to do is kill him, and then his soul will come back. You got 5 seconds to get out of my face before I go to jail for what I'm going to do to you. Kind of like those people that are trying to boycott the vaccination sites. If I have to go to a vaccination site and I have family in my car and I'm going to get them vaccinated because I don't want them to die from COVID, and they're blocking my way, guess what? My car beats your fleshy body any day of the week, and I will not hesitate to do what I need to do to protect the lives of my family. I know, okay, what the car will do to you. We have evidence of that. You do not have evidence that vaccines cause autism or that put trackers in the human body. By the way, whoever it was that came up with that schematic of here's how to build the government tracker that's going to be injected in the vaccines, and it turned out it was like a one of those foot pedal circuits for an electric guitar or amplifier or whatever it was. That was like the best troll I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like that. What is it? The e-reader or the e-meter from Scientology?
God. It was a beautiful troll, though. You got to admit it.
Oh,
People,
wait a minute.
Yeah,
Hold
the
on.
e-readers doesn't do anything.
No, but the vaccine tracker, that whole thing was just a troll. Like he was purposely spoofing people.
Yeah, the person who first put out the electric circuit that so that you could build your own, so you could see what it looks like. It was just an amplifier for like a guitar or something.
A distortion pedal. Lovely.
It was either
That is,
yeah, it was something small. It was either the amplifier that you plug in, between your guitar and your speaker, or for the distortion pedal. I can't remember which circuit it was, but it was one of the two. And that's all it was. There was nothing in the circuit that could have created an antenna array for GPS, no source of power, no nothing.
what I wouldn't give to be a salesperson at Radio Shack
Oh God, yeah.
when that
Put a
dropped.
kit together so they could buy it.
Oh, and tell them it's actually it's powered by Raspberry Pi. Just to twist the knife a little bit deeper.
But you see, here's the thing. At the end of the day, anybody who understands circuit design saw what it was. They're educated to some degree.
Yeah.
Anybody who understands GPS technology knows that that kind of circuit can't power itself.
Yeah.
And something that small would need a power source.
Yeah, but okay, we look at that, our jaws drop because of how stupid it is. But I would recommend you want to get a look at how stupid some people can be. And I mean, yes, these people are of a particular political bend, but I'm trying to be a little. I'm not trying to say.
Dude, I subscribe to the subreddit Idiot Drivers. I know exactly how stupid they could be.
But just listen to this. Check out, because we talked about him earlier, but check out Thunderfoot's video on busting Space Force, and just the interviews of some of the people and some of the things that they say. Yeah, I've said it before, but to say that education needs an overhaul in a lot of places is the mother of all understatements.
Yeah, we've got. We'll have a link to Thunderfoot's YouTube channel in general, so folks can go trolling through that. Joseph, I want to throw it over to you because I've gotta get rolling relatively quickly.
Yeah. Am I muted? Yes, I am. Okay. Yeah, for me, it just comes down to the same thing repeating. I mean, when you look at human evolution, I mean, we spent millions of years evolving in a model, and a success model that, we're growing up in small groups. We have a tendency to obey the authority of a few key leaders. So most of a clan, this clan mentality would have a few key leaders. This is our basic evolution. I mean, this was a success model until around 15,000 years ago. So we're born with these basic instincts that our evolution is deemed successful. But these don't seem to be compatible with today's society. So to overcome our basic instincts, our instinct for credulity, appeal to authority and all that, it takes some work to get over that. Critical thought, and basically the basic notion that we can question things, that we don't have to appeal to higher authorities for everything. And even there, what they say, we can take into question. We can question it. We have every right. So, but our present education seems to be around eliminating our ability to question. Anything about questioning seems to be no node in today's education. And I mean, it's done because it's done by individuals, it's done by religions. Religions remove the ability of autonomous thought so they can have better have control. But I mean, like I say before, corporations do it too. So, they depend on our credulity to make sales. There's just too much money in in this state that we find ourselves in. So I think a lot of our work is not going to be only around educating, teaching people to think critically. I think it's also around individual responsibility and individual empowerment. Like, enough with the "you can't." We know very well what people can do. But yeah, that's it.
All right. So that's
I'm just saying that the story about this Indian family, I mean, for me, there's a lot of that in there. The falling back to instinctive behavior without being able to overcome it, kind of results in this outcome.
Yeah, fair enough. Over in the live chat, by the way, J Mike, I see you just joined us. Hate to tell you this, but you actually got us right at the very end of it all because we're wrapping up. Sorry about that. But with any luck, maybe you join us next week instead. So that's pretty well going to cover us for tonight. As always, everybody, thank you very much for being with us. We hope that you found something worthwhile in all of our perspectives and got something to think about for the upcoming week. As an aside, because I was off my game earlier, I completely missed over of it. It turns out I did go looking up information on Raif Badawi's condition. Although, as of the recording of tonight's show, he has now been jailed for 8 years, 7 months, 14 days. This past week, the Canadian government, Dallin, you might have heard about this one, has gone ahead and put forward that he should be granted Canadian citizenship. The vote was put up there with no dissent. So that is going forward in the Canadian government in the hopes that they can get him extracted one way or another, and he will be able to join his wife and family finally when he is out.
Hell, it's about damn time.
True that. True that. So, thank you all for being with us. I'm gonna get the show notes updated so that we've got everybody an opportunity to check all the stuff we were talking about. Joseph, as always, thank you very much for your time. You have yourself a good, safe week, I hope.
Oh, you too, sir. And yeah, thanks for having me on. And see you next week.
Yeah, I'm trying. Tech, you too, man. You take good care of yourself. You try to be careful, huh?
Doing everything I can.
That's fair enough, man. Bridget, you know, on top of everything else, yes, A, thank you for being able to make it, and B, yeah, I kind of heard a little something about couch surfing. Is that the report that I heard about your wonderful person of choice?
Yes, that is actually true, and this has been confirmed through several local media sources. And
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at somebody's.
in
I'm sorry.
addition to the couch surfing, which if rumor is accurate at this point, he is now housed up in Eric Holcomb, which is the current governor's one of his places. They're getting death threats as well, so they're trying to keep his current homeless couch surfing location undisclosed.
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Bridget, go ahead and say it.
Mike Pence.
Oh.
Is currently couch surfing, and he's homeless at the moment, and they can't figure out where to settle down. So
homeless is exaggerating. How many properties do they have?
Mike Pence actually has no properties at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
This is true because he went straight from the governor's mansion to the White House, vice president's housing, so he hasn't had a house in a very long time.
Not only that, don't forget, Pence at the last minute was made a pariah by Trump. So there are 70 million Americans who are very pissed off at Trump or Pence right now. Until
Yeah.
Trump tells them to forgive Pence, they're
That's
pissed
right.
at Pence.
Yeah,
He's in
but
hiding.
And-
He is literally in hiding. Yes.
Yeah. So I wouldn't expect him to buy any kind of physical property right now, because the moment the word gets out, he's going to have people showing up.
Oh,
Yeah, this is a large case of, well, you made your bed.
Yeah. He
And-
pissed off 1 out of 2 Americans. Well, he's a target of 1 of 2 Americans thanks to Trump, but he
Mhm.
pissed off many more Americans than that.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't kowtow to Trump's wishes is one thing. I mean, that turns the Trump party against him, and I use Trump party loosely. But the guy also had 4 years of a vice presidency that did not do him any favors, as well as a previous governorship, as Bridget has mentioned many times, has also not done him a lot of favors. I'm pretty sure the only way this guy is going to avoid anything is to get the hell off this continent. That being said, because of, well, certain travel bans owing to a
everything.
Certain virus.
how does this go?
Carbon 19.
No. How does he? Oh yeah, the unknown virus of unspecified origin. I think I've covered all the bases there. Yeah, he's not going anywhere. So I hope he got himself a nice big cardboard box.
Wait, he's the governor of Kentucky, right?
No,
No.
Indiana.
Former
Indiana. Oh, sorry. Wait,
And
what?
there
Indiana
are-
or-
Yeah. And
Okay.
there are a
Oh, Mitch
lot
McConnell is Kentucky. Sorry.
and there are a lot of Trumplicans in Indiana. I'm just saying.
Trumpeteers.
So
Yeah, but not only that,
his life is rather interesting at the moment.
yeah, he couldn't even settle in a blue state because, again, he just had 4 years of a vice presidency under people that, well, Democrats, I don't think I'm too far away from saying this, hated.
Mhm.
Viscerally hated.
Yep.
So
But-
he's not welcome. He's not really welcome anywhere right now, I don't think.
Nope.
Yeah, he's pretty much a pariah. So, yeah, sucks to be him at the moment.
So you want to go ahead and say your thing?
So, I'm sorry that you almost got executed by like crazy people at the Capitol, but fuck you anyway, Mike Pence.
We'll go with that. I
And
think-
the Patriot Party, fuck you too.
yeah. Somehow, I think the only place that folks are going to be seeing him are going to be at rest stops as he drives his RV around, because I think that's the only safe place he'll have for a while.
Assuming if anybody will even sell one to him.
I'm sure there's somebody that would, but be that as it may.
Maybe.
And Dallin, like I said, man, good to have you back. Welcome back on such a wonderful topic to talk about.
Well, like I said, this one was kind of in the wheelhouse of
Yeah.
Of the thing. I had enough, so to speak, I had enough spoons for it tonight.
And as
What
usual,
happens next?
Yeah,
What
don't.
happens next week? We'll see.
We'll roll the bones when it comes to that.
Pretty much. But yeah, and once YouTube is done allowing me to actually download it or get this thing done, I'll take care of it up at the audio version of the show over at holycraptheblogcast.com. And speaking of spoons, well, been trying to keep my own podcast going for a while, but it's been tough. Just battling a lot of my own anxieties, shall we say. It's still going though. It's almost done. The book is nearly finished its first run. Wondering what the hell I'm talking about? You can check that out over at kickit.yo5.ca.
Thank you, man. And for anybody that's wondering, yes, he is the audio bitch I keep talking about. It's been a long time since we actually used that, so
I bitch, therefore I am.
it works out perfectly that way.
Complaino ergo sum.
All our contact information is over at holycrapthevlogcast.com. The phone number, if you'd like to leave a voicemail message, and please be creative, folks, is 859-HCTV-554, 859-4288-554. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, right, yeah. I mentioned it before. There may be a way for us to actually work it so that we can have folks who have got Plex and want to use it for their podcast recording can use it. There may be a way. I'm not quite sure how the hell they screwed up the coding for that, but hey, it's a partially free program, so I'll give them a little bit of a pass on quirks. We'll be back again next week. We will end up following up on this story at some point. I just don't know when it's going to be. But thank you for being with us. Those of you that have got siblings, got kids, just be good to them. Parent to parent. Just be good to them. Meantime, we will see you guys again next time. So until the next time we get together, everyone, as always, I wish you the peace I no longer have. I wish you the strength that I've learned. I wish you well. My lady, it's 15 and a half years on. I am still in love. Matane Fujin, I love you. I miss you. Dream of us. Till the next time we get together, everyone. As always, good night.